I never even saw it. Did you leave it in your car?
You need one of those Scott vests. I need an idiot. All right, we're on.
There's Pete. Ready to go? I'd like to call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for December 2nd, 2020. Roll call.
Andrew Bucky. Andrew?
He's smiling, but I don't hear him. I see you talking. I see you talking, Andrew, but I don't hear you.
He's on?
Yep.
Okay. Cole Johnson?
There's Cole.
I don't have one, I have
Can you?
Are we having difficulty?
I
We're not hearing you guys. Keep going through roll call. I see hands waving, so I can kind of check off.
Kuhn?
Pete?
Pete Kuhn?
I heard him, but he was very faint.
Okay. Jamie Lunsky?
Yeah, he's here.
Frank Matichek?
Here.
Alex Reichert?
He's here.
Megan Sandy?
She's here.
Steve Wasvik?
I am here. Quorum present. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We do have to cure a quick problem because
Yeah, we might want to check just in case they have questions. So
Yeah.
John, could you just check to see if that, if those who are on Zoom can be heard inside the...
I heard a couple of you, but it was very, very, very faint.
Are we supposed to be seeing it now?
No, Steve will because he's got a computer in front of him, but...
Last meeting, we did see it. Love technology, don't you?
We're trying something a little different.
And maybe going just to this microphone or this computer. Could that be the case?
Then Frank wouldn't be able to hear, but let me see. I think John's working on something.
Can you guys see and hear me okay? Yeah. I guess we'll read through the minutes from our November 4th meeting. I'll try to do this old school way till John gets things fixed. Please just read through those and try to make a motion with the hand.
You want a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Budke makes a motion to approve the minutes. Shake your head, yes. And Mr. Matchek seconds it. All right, with that, motions are approved as submitted, entered into record. Okay, now we really would like to get that fixed before we start.
Well, I'll start explaining it, and then hopefully by the time questions come up, we can get that. And at the very worst, I'm also saying this for John, that we can always unplug that headphone jack. I don't know if there's an ability to...
I just unplugged that phone jack from here. Somebody want to say something?
I probably don't have that set up for external on purpose, so...
You see, but you can't hear them?
So with that, I'll quickly go through our item here at least, and then if anybody has questions, we'll figure out how to get those relayed to me. But we're at the corner of South Washington and 47th Avenue South here. We're in the northwest quadrant. Currently, this is zoned for multifamily. The request is for it to be B3 for commercial, and they're looking at probably a medical office type uses. It'd be similar to what was down here. We had a few questions actually from neighbors, but most of them were actually all of them, I should say, not most, but all of them were good with the use change to commercial in this location. So accesses will remain in their current sites. So with that, it is a public hearing, but we do recommend approval on this, and I'm willing to stand for any questions that you may have, but we will have to open it up as well.
And I don't have my phone, so those of you who are trying to text me, that's not going to work either. Sorry. It's been a night.
Maybe do through the chat.
I'll open the public hearing. Anybody in the audience would like to step up and address item 3.1, please do so at this time. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. That brings it back to the commission. Mr.
Move approval.
Does anybody have a question out there in the Brady Bunch land?
Maybe through the chat, if you can open up that, Steve.
Commissioners. Frank moved approval. Do we have a second? Looks like Pete would like to second that motion. If I open the chat, does that work? Do you guys have a chat button on there?
Got a little microphone down there. Mute.
Q&A.
Hold on a second.
I'm starting to hear something. Might be the,
I just cranked your microphone up.
well,
I'm just worried about the legality of the meeting. I mean, I know what we're doing, so. Technology.
technology piece. So yeah, this would all be, I think they can be seen. So what they're seeing on the screen is, can be seen as well.
Does that chat work, anybody? Maybe.
Are they trying to talk?
They're trying, but it's not.
Oh, here comes John.
Do the right thing.
I just said hello. Okay. So we're gonna try that chat deal, you guys, and do this the best we can. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? You can raise your hand and we'll do the best we can. Seeing no hands, we'll call for a vote. We will do a hand vote. All those in favor signify by raising their hand. Opposed, same sign. Unanimously passes. 3-2.
Plat of Kingsview 83 subdivision and ordinance dedicating right-of-way located at 6,000 block of South 14th Street.
So Chairman Wasvik, this is along South Washington Street and 62nd. I'll quickly pull up the plat here as well. So the plat that in this area, South 14th Street winds around. These are for new single-family, potential for twin families down here as well. It is everything that we expected to see on this plat. It's slightly tweaked from last time just in terms of the cul-de-sac, not enough for anybody to notice. But with that, we do recommend approval. Again, this one is a public hearing, and we received no comments, and actually we received supporting comments on the item. So with that, we'll stand for any questions.
Okay, anything for Mr. Brooks before I open the public hearing? Seeing no hands at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody like to step up the microphone to address item 3.2, do so at this time. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission. Item 3.2, is there? Whoa, so what was that? Mr. Budke has entered in as our first request. I was hoping to speak on item 3.2. Oh, speak again, Andrew. Did that work?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yay.
Oh, great.
We're there.
Okay, great. Perfect timing. So I voted against this item last time, and I'm not sure that I explained my thinking very well. Tonight, I actually plan on voting in favor of it, and I wrote down some of my thoughts, and I was hoping to take a few minutes to kind of explain that quick. So good timing on the audio, I guess. So over the last several months, there have been a handful of plats or annexations before this body that I voted against. And if memory serves, each one fit a similar profile, right? Greenfield, low-intensity, residential-only development on sort of the fringe of the city. And each time I asked city staff a series of questions about, the expected tax impacts of that development, not just in the near term, but I was trying to get at sort of like the medium to long-term impacts. So questions like, what does the city expect to collect in property taxes? What does the city expect to spend cleaning and plowing the street? How long will the road surface last, and what will it cost to replace in the future? Questions about the provision of city services and people's expectations. And I suppose more to the point, will the city be able to continue providing those services in perpetuity because the value of the property itself supports it? So I've heard this type of inquiry described as a cost-benefit analysis or like a return on investment study. And I don't think it's a fringe concept. This is what I understand to be at the heart of the governor's Main Street initiative. And yet whenever I would ask these questions, I never felt like I was getting a complete answer. So I started voting no on some of them that sort of shared the same profile. And my intent was to signal to city staff, and I suppose anybody who might be, reading through the meeting minutes, that this is something worth prioritizing. So I don't consider myself, like a ideologue or like a bomb thrower or anything like that. I don't have any constituency to serve. But I did really want the city staff to study this question, this return on investment question, in a more formal way. So that's why I was really happy that when, after our last meeting, Earl Haugen at the MPO emailed all of us about the land use plan update, that process, and how the RFP includes a critical look at the growth tiers and boundaries. I don't know if that's exactly what I had in mind in sort of my perfect world conception, but it's really good, and I'm genuinely excited that we're going to be thinking about these questions in a more thorough way. So why this? To be honest, when I see a layout like this, I have some concerns. Again, the profile is a greenfield, low-intensity, residential-only development. And it'll probably always be that. If at some future date you wanted to adapt this land, this neighborhood, to some different or more intense use, even if that was allowed by the ordinance, I think you'd really struggle. And it's because there's a long cul-de-sac, there's no pedestrian connection to the adjacent streets. I don't believe the bike trail network extends this far. I don't believe the bus network extends this far. So in my mind, that's why the questions about the tax impacts are so relevant. Because if the development is essentially complete from the very beginning, there's no prospect to intensify that development in the future or to collect more tax revenue, right? That's the maximum amount of tax revenue that'll ever be collected here. So, kind of to take another angle, at the last meeting, housing choice was brought up. People want this type of housing development and it should be available to them, and I totally accept that. And but I would point out that there is a lot of this housing type already available in the community. Meanwhile, there are a lot of housing types that are largely missing from our community. Perhaps you've heard this term, missing middle. I was kind of recently introduced to it, but it refers to housing types that are more intense than detached single-family homes on the one hand, but less intense than like a medium-rise apartment or condo building on the other. So things like stacked duplexes or fourplexes, courtyard buildings, townhomes, things that might offer different price points or the opportunity for rental income for middle-class people. Formats that do exist in town, to be sure, but not in really great numbers. So when you look at the housing landscape across, our community, the country, these formats tend to be clustered in older core neighborhoods that were built before the adoption of zoning codes, and elsewhere they're just sort of missing, right? Hence the term. So it's almost as if the system of zoning and investment and development has commodified the housing stock and sort of boxed out other formats and choices that people might be seeking. So if it's a question of choice, and kind of given this broader context, then I actually think that a development with this profile deserves some extra scrutiny. So that's a lot. Took me a while to write that out. That's where my head's at and kind of where my skepticism comes from. I don't have all of the answers or any solutions, but what I really want to have happen is for our community and in particular the leadership to start thinking about the complex ways that, seemingly mundane things like our zoning and parking ordinances, our infrastructure policy, how they're deeply intertwined with the built environment, our wealth, and our public health. So with that, thank you for the time, Mr. Chairman. I will move to approve.
Thank you for your explanation, Mr. Budke. And Mr. Reichert, you're on a second. Any further discussion from the committee? Seeing no hands in the air, I will call for a vote. Let's just stay with the hand vote tonight. Oh, Mr. Reichert, I'm sorry, please. You're muted. Alex, did you want to speak?
No, I had some vagabonds walk in my office.
Understood. It wasn't me this time. All those in favor signify by saying, raising their hand. All those opposed, please raise your hand. Unanimously passes. And that was Mr. Budke and Mr. Reichert on a motion in a second. Okay, item 3.3.
Conditional use permit for an indoor gun range in the form of a testing chamber, bullet trap, as part of the manufacturing process located at 830 South 48th Street.
Mr. Brooks.
Thank you. I'll quickly, a little behind. I will go to the industrial park, which is where this site is located. And I'll quickly let you know that we did do notification to the neighbors around in this area. We didn't receive any feedback. I'll start by saying this sounds like it's a gun range. Really what's going on here, they're manufacturing guns, which is allowed within that zoning district. And as part of that, obviously they want to test the guns. They're going to put the gun into a barrel and there's lots of information within there on what this is going to look like. And they're going to discharge that weapon, making sure that it works. All those things, it isn't quite really a gun range. That was what was in our code that fit here. But we really just want to notify neighbors around there that there's going to be a gun going off, and there's nothing to be worried about. It's just part of what's being done here. I'm not even too sure how loud it's going to be to the neighbors, but we didn't receive any concerns from those around there. We talked to the police as well, and they didn't have any issue. Public Works just wants to work with them in terms of discharging of the barrel once they're done with that, in terms of spent pieces, and it just doesn't end up in the landfill. There's a certain way to get rid of that. The owners are here. They're here available for any questions, and with that, that's the end of my presentation. It's pretty simple. It sounds worse than it is potentially, but apparently not too much because we didn't even receive any calls. So with that, staff is recommending approvals. And
Okay, well, I'll open it up because I see a hand from a commissioner. Mr. Reichert, please.
Thank you. I don't see anything in the conditional use permit about noise, and that concerns me. That seems like the only thing that would be of most concern. I know that the police one that they use, I think, is in the basement of the sheriff's office, and I've never heard any sound coming out of it, even when I'm in the building. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that they can make them essentially soundproof. But I'd like to know the logistics of that, and I'd like to see some language in the conditional use permit requiring that.
Yep, we'll have to make sure that they're following all noise ordinances, so we can beef that up on there. Alex, so just to make sure that they will be following that. And there is, I believe, a range actually just located to the south of this on the public safety property as well. That's literally within a small distance away. It's down in this area here where the fire station is, just south of there, south and a little bit west, and that's an outdoor range. And so we'd be having them follow the same guidance as everybody else in terms of noise.
Well, and that, you know, I don't know, our noise ordinance, I deal with it all the time with college parties and whatnot. It's pretty amorphous, and I think I'd rather have some more concrete language in there because I know there can be difficulty in enforcing just our regular noise ordinance. And I think we have an opportunity here to draft something a little different.
How specifically would you want that to be addressed in terms of, is there a certain decibel level or in terms of complaints from neighbors?
Yeah, you know, and that's what I'm not really sure, and I don't know the logistics or expense, and that's one of the reasons, since we have them here, I'd like to get a sense of what their expectation of the noise would be.
Oh, from the owners?
Right.
Okay. Well, they're here, I can certainly yield to them.
We got to open the public hearing, so we can do it at this time. Alex, you're good with that?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mr. Matchek, do you have something? You're pointing at me.
Well, yeah, I was going to ask a question, but you can open the public hearing because the last one.
Yeah, okay. I'll open the public hearing. Anybody in the audience would like to step up and address item 3.3? I think the owners will be waiting for you. If anybody else, please step forward, state your name, address for the record.
Axel Whitney, my home address, you want?
Sure.
Okay, it's 5374 North Columbia Road here in Grand Forks. So to address the sound issue, I've contacted the manufacturer, and it really depends on what the decibel will be, contingent on the caliber, so they couldn't actually give us something that you could hang your hat on. But these things are used in shields, they're used in Cabela's, they're used in labs, you know, in thousands of police departments across the country. So we're not expecting there to be an issue, but if it is too loud, it's not a difficult technical hurdle. We just build an enclosure around this thing. It's literally the size of like 26 by 26. It's like a tower for your computer. So we could build something around it with a sound absorbing material and fire the gun enclosed in that. You know, the gun and the rifle and the actual bullet trap would be enclosed in that. But I can't give you any actual, you know, quantifiable, you'll have X reduction in decibel, or what even the decibel will be initially. It's trial and error, I guess, on that front.
By default, I've actually heard one of these in action on a job site we were working on, and it was no different than a hand clap, to be honest, the one I saw.
Okay.
And it looked very similar to what you're looking at.
Okay. I mean, our plan, irrespective of this, was, you know, to go to our neighbors in the building and to inform them we plan on firing the gun, firing it, and then just in communication with them, seeing what's tolerable, and then getting to that point. But I understand you guys want something to hold us to, but
Sure.
we don't know what it will actually be.
I saw Mr. Reichert's hand up, if you would like to ask a question. I see him.
Yeah, Steve, so, I mean, or either one of you, since you've seen it, Steve, so is it quieter than the gun actually going off?
Well, you know, you could attest to it. The one I saw was in Bemidji,
Okay.
and you actually put the barrel into the gun, so you can't miss, and so it takes all that repercussion noise and dissipates it in that canister that holds a bullet. That's
You actually, we didn't purchase it yet because we wanted to get approval, obviously.
Yeah.
So I haven't used it, so I can't have like a first-hand account, but you put the barrel inside the machine in the bullet trap, and you fire it, so
Yeah,
the entire muzzle is captured.
not like you're standing back from it, you have to hit the thing. You actually insert the barrel into the machine, and it just takes it up.
Well, like, what I'm saying is that muzzles the sound quite a bit by doing that, Steve?
What I heard, yeah.
I'm going off your first hand.
I know, and I'm no expert, so I think you're on the right course to get the decibel readings from the manufacturer. I think that would make us all feel better, because they're all different too. you know, every one of these manufacturers makes them a little different, so I think you should get that from them and bring that when you.
Well, and especially if there's other tenants in the building, that makes it even more concerning to me that we don't have, because even for their protection, I mean, if we base it on some subjective measure, you could have a new tenant come in there and just really raise a ruckus for them.
And like I said, that there's no technical reason why we cannot build an enclosure around it to deaden it even more so. You know, this would be a dedicated enclosure to enclose the entire, you know, the entire action
Sure.
of firing the gun within this thing. So
Build a room for it.
I don't think we don't have that much space, but we could build an enclosure to,
Sure.
yeah.
Mr. Lunsky, I saw your hand up too, and Mr. Madchek, I'll get you.
Yeah, my question was how many times a day would you be using this or discharging guns, and what would the hours be? And is there more than one shift, or, you know?
Well, right now we only have one shift, and it would be, that would be easy. It could be within, you know, 9 to 5. It needs to be each rifle needs to be fired twice. So the minimum would be every order it's fired twice. You know, theoretically, if the firearm doesn't do what we want it to do, which is you fire it once to see if it cycles, you fire it the second time to make sure the bolt carrier group locks back, and if it doesn't do that, then we'd have to address that and then fire it again. But it's contingent on orders.
Okay, you're not making 100 an hour?
No, we're not making
You're
hundreds an hour.
Okay.
We'd be hopeful for, you know, we'd be very happy if we got, you know, 3 or 4 a day, you know, orders coming in. So it would be a relatively rare occurrence, you know.
Okay.
Mr. Madchek.
Yeah, just a couple of quick things. One, about the sound, knowing a little bit about guns. A lot of guns make different sounds. Some are 22, you barely hear it.
Yeah.
Other guns are pretty loud. This looks like when you stick it in, it's almost like in a silencer, but not quite.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you say the word silencer, my thinking of silencers.
Do you ever put silencers on them to try them?
We own some silencers to fire them, but that would affect the gun. We
Okay.
want to make sure you'd overgas it if you put a silencer on it. We want to make sure that the bolt carrier group locks back without a silencer on it. So we
So
wouldn't
how
do-
far does the barrel actually go in there?
Again, I have no first-hand account of this. I have not been around one.
Okay.
So I can't say, but
I mean, it looks like here you got a semi-automatic here on the GT model, and it looks like by that barrel was probably 6 inches maybe off of the gun. Looks like you got about 3 in the machine.
if that's what it looks like, what you're looking at, I would go off what...
This one here?
yes.
You familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. Just curious. And the second thing, are these guns all made out of steel and iron?
The barrels are made out of steel. The rest of the body's made out of magnesium.
Magnesium? Okay, so they're lightweight.
They're lightweight, yes.
Okay. And then I also notice here it says, these bullet traps are designed for single fire only. Looks like you got a pretty good clip on that one in there. So do you fire off the whole clip, or do you just take your time and do one at a time, or how do you test it?
You take your time, fire, and we're only firing 2 rounds per rifle, so it'd be 1 fire, 2 fire. There would be no fully automatic or no...
So you don't let it go?
You don't let it go. You don't let
Okay,
it go.
okay.
Yeah. And the caliber on these rifles is 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor.
It says 338.
Well, it's probably up to, but the calibers
Okay.
we're using, we're firing are 308 and 6.5 Creedmoor.
So that's the only 2 you make, 308 and 338?
308 and 6.5 Creedmoor are the 2 we currently make. If we're going to make any, it would be 223 Remington. So we'd be going down from those calibers.
Okay?
Okay.
Any other questions from the committee? If not, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the committee. Seeing no hands, what say you, committee?
I'll move approval, but we get to see this twice, right?
No, this is a one-time deal.
Okay, then
and-
I'm not gonna move to approve, and I'm not gonna vote to approve it, I don't think. Because I'd like different, or can we change the language right here?
Yeah, you can change the language, but I do want to point out that this would have been eligible for a gun range as well here in this location. Now, obviously, that's not what he's doing, but that is what we gave to the Brown Corporation a few years ago out in their area. I don't think they ever completed and did it, but I did want to point that out. And I do understand that there could be neighboring people in here. And so I think, certainly if we can get him to work with them and make sure that they're aware before he does do the firing, that, I think it's going to, the noise is certainly going to be very localized to that building.
So what is the, I'll get you, Frank, what is the normal decibel level for this area?
Whatever goes in
Yeah, I mean, it's a manufacturing.
So I would
you
say,
you can-
Alex, if you're all right, if we stick to the normal decibel level, whatever that may be, I don't know.
I don't know if we have that, though. I don't know if we have that specific.
Well, you can get up to, during the day, a manufacturing site can go.
Pretty loud.
Yeah, pretty loud. I mean,
how do
so
we hamper?
that's kind of my point, is that this was Wells Concrete behind there. So-
Sure.
And I don't think he's going to be louder than Wells Concrete to the neighbors.
Okay, I'll move approval.
Okay, Mr. Matichak, well, let me get a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank, and then you had a question?
Yeah, I just want to point out that, Alex, this is a conditional use permit, and if we do have complaints or something, it can come back to us again, right?
Correct.
So,
Yeah, I just always want to be careful with that because, I want to protect both sides. I want to protect him from, people complaining too much, and I want to protect the neighbors too. So, but this sounds fine.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I've been a part of couple of the other gun ranges that have been through here. Be honest with you, most of the time, they don't end up building them. They just get the permit or whatever. So, but since it is a conditional use permit, I think that's our arm that we have over it. And I don't see any problem with this manufacturing thing, but just in case we do, that's our way out.
Yep. Okay, I agree. So public hearing's closed. We'll see any other questions, comments, discussions from the panel or the commission. I don't see any hands. With that, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, those opposed, same sign. Seeing none opposed, motion carries. Item 3-4,
Plat of Gateway Shops re-subdivision located at 3900 block of Gateway Drive. Applicant requesting to table for 1 month.
okay. Move to table, Mr. Matichak. Second, Mr. Reichert, I'm assuming? Thank you. No discussion needed for a table. Item is tabled. Or are we supposed to have to vote on it?
You do, Ian.
Sorry, getting ahead of myself. All those in favor of tabling?
Aye.
Opposed? Item 3-4 is tabled. 4-1.
Plat of Williamson Field re-subdivision located at the 1100 block of Demers Avenue.
Mr. Brooks?
Okay, I'll quickly go through this item. It's a very big plat, but it's really just about, just about ownership. This is one of those deals where it's existing, it's the school, or not school, it's the park district, the city, and we're the property owners out here, and this is really just going to be an example of how well the city and the park work together. And in this case, probably the park district more so with us quite a bit. This is Williamson Field area. A lot of people know it as the Purple Arena area. Some people know it as where Central football practices as well. So there's a water tower here that's up in this corner of the plat. I'll start with the air photo just because it's easier to see everything. There's a lift station down here. There's also a playground. Purple Arenas are here. Grand Forks Curling Club owns the piece here. And the old Park District area, which is still their maintenance area, is located here, and the Smiling Moose Starbucks is here. So there's involvement as well with the DOT, and they're still looking at that right now. And there's a yard waste collection site that's up here in the north area here. So with that, I'll kind of went through everything. Here's what that looks like on a plat. This was subdivided way back when, so there's lots of individual small lots that have all been vacated. So all these streets are rights of way are vacated, but here's the water tower location up here, lift stations down here, and here's where the hockey areas are, and here's the curling club. They'll be on their own lot now. So with that, and we're reestablishing 12th Street is actually public right away. So with that, it seems like a lot, but it's a two-plat deal. There's no new construction. So in the excitement world, it's very low, but in the surveyor world, it's very high because there's a lot of things going on here.
Still a football practice field, still a park, still
Thank you. Yep.
Okay.
All those things, and these are just the legalities that come with the plat. So
Gotcha.
with that, we're recommending approval, but we're certainly happy to stand for any questions that you may have.
Mr. Reichert?
I guess I'm confused why the old lines are still all in there. It doesn't seem like we see that on other plats.
They're actually there, I think, just on this copy. They're hatched, but these are the dark lines, the new lines that'll be established, but these are actually hatched. It just comes across a little bit darker on this copy.
Okay. Move approval.
Moved by Mr. Reichert.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kuhn. Any further discussion? Seeing no hands, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, and hands. Same, all those opposed, same sign? I'm losing it. 4-1 passes, all right, moving on. Nothing. 5-1.
So we had the planning commissioner training, November 18th. Hopefully, everybody was able to attend. There is a link that we're going to send out to everybody, just so they could watch that if they wanted to. But was everybody able to get on that wanted to? And of course, I can't see the commissioners, but maybe just contact our office if you want. Maybe we'll just send out that link to everybody. So just with the ability to see everybody, it's kind of hard to have that discussion, but it was kind of a high-level piece in terms of planning commissioner training, but we thought it was pretty good, and hopefully you guys did as well. And if you have any questions, contact us. Staff is always available to certainly answer any questions. So, and we are looking to continue on with more training in the future as well. So look forward to that. And if anybody has ideas for what they would want to see, please contact us. I don't know if anybody has any questions now. We can certainly try to cover anything. Not seeing anything. I can go on to the next thing that we were going to mention is that, Alex, I think you're on the committee to select the next land use piece next week. It'll be yourself, there'll be 2 planners on that. I think Earl from the MPO, and there's an engineering rep as well. And we've had 4 good quality planning submittals, RFPs that have come in. We're reviewing those, and then we'll do interviews next week, and that'll start the ball rolling on the land use piece, which, not to say that I heard Mr. Butke's comments earlier. They are folded into some of the things that are in there, and I'll be reaching out to him as well. So understanding his questions, and want to make sure that we're going to cover everything that he needs as well. And as we go through that process, and if anybody wants to see the proposals, we can certainly make those available to you as well. So, but hopefully by next Friday, we'll have somebody under contract, and we'll be filling you guys in the coming months on that as well.
Okay, I don't see any hands or questions on that. Thank you for that. Any other business? Frank, you had something, I remembered.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring everybody up to speed here a little bit. One of the things out on the north side of town is the landfill, and I just want to bring up the fact that when the landfill was sited there, it was within the 6 miles zone of the airport, which had to have a special permit to get that because it was supposed to be 6 miles from the airport. And the reason they got that permit there was because they were always going to bale the garbage and bury it. And that was done up till the COVID thing was the excuse for them not doing it. And now the city of Grand Forks is looking for a permit to dump loose garbage and just cover it. And the residents out there, there's been trash blowing all around. It's been a big problem out there. I just wanted this commission to be aware of that. I brought it up with a couple of city council people. I think it's a mistake for the city to not bale the garbage and bury it like they did. If they wanted to bury loose garbage, they should have done it when they had the hole low. Everything that's in the bottom of the landfill right now is baled and buried, and everything on top is loose. And it doesn't make any sense with the winds and the stuff we have here. And I just wanted this commission to be aware of it. And I think personally, I think the city's making a big mistake. I don't know if the balers are that expensive. They say they can't fix them. They're not usable, whatever. I don't know. I guess I just want to bring that up to the commission, let them know what's going on out there. I know it's a landfill, call it a dump, do whatever you want to do. But the bird problem, right now they're using drones to chase off the birds. That can't be cheap. And I think when they had the baling facility, there, I think the bird mitigation was fairly decent. But that's just my comment. I'll just bring it up and leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Matchek. I don't know much about it, so I thought it was a staffing issue that they couldn't work out there.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not aware, but I can be in touch.
yep, somebody will dig into it. Okay, with that, I would,
Move to adjourn.
thanks, Frank. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
There's one more, item 6.1.
Oh, I thought it was wrong, you were gonna table it. Item 6.1, hold the adjournment, 2021 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting schedule.
Apologize for that. So yeah, we have the packets there for the 2021 Planning and Zoning meeting schedule. And yeah, it's 2021. I think they showed us 2020, but they're 2021. Sorry about that. So yeah, that's there for the coming year. So if you have any questions on anything, let us know, but you can get those in your calendars.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So, thank you everybody for an interesting meeting. We'll try again next month.
All right, thank you.
Meeting adjourned.
I did not get...
I agree.